This recipe comes from an old cookbook. This is the Betty Crocker picture cookbook from probably early 60s, I want to say. It's the cookbook that my mother always cooked out of, and I can remember as a child just poring over, in particular, the cookie section. Look at this spread. I just have so many fond memories from this cookbook. The cookie that we're going to make out of this cookbook today are thumbprint cookies. There are a lot of different ways to make these. They're basically a shortbread cookie with a jam or jelly center. As with many shortbread cookie recipes, you're going to start with butter, brown sugar, that's a 1/4 cup, and we're just going to get that going. Then we're going to add 1 egg yolk, a 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla. And then we're going to add our dry ingredients, a cup of sifted gold medal flour, a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. When you're cooking from an old cookbook, I think it's important to pay attention to the salt measurement, because if you use kosher salt and you use that same amount, you're going to get a different ratio because the granules are bigger. And then we're just going to barely mix this to combine it. We don't want to over mix it. I'm sorry, but I have to show you again. There's this little diagram that shows you what is in the picture that comes before. If you're a kid like me and you're just, drooling over these photographs of these assortment of cookies, you can actually find the recipes for them through this diagram. And then there's all these little charming pictures of boys off to college getting, or boarding school or whatever, getting a care package from mom. And it's just very charming. Fun fact about Betty Crocker, not a real person. She was invented by General Mills. She's just a character who answers questions about cooking and baking. So because she's from General Mills, you will find recipes in here for Wheatie bars or whatever, So it's like using cereals by their brand name. Step 1 of shaping the thumbprints is to make 1-inch balls. One of the reasons I love to make thumbprint cookies is because we make a lot of jam in our house. And so I'm always looking for desserts and cookies and recipes that involve jam. These pecans are so special. They come from Sharon and Jack. These are family members in North Texas, from their tree in their yard. They're super fresh. They shelled them themselves and sent them to me because they know how much I treasure pecans. We want to give them a fine chop. The other thing about them being so fresh, I'm telling you, you can taste the difference. When you roast these nuts, they get this mapley flavor to them that I just love. And I feel like when they're fresh like this, you can really taste that. Then you want to transfer it to a plate. Professional cooks or chefs will tell you that the best way to deal with this kind of coating system is to have one hand that's wet and one hand that's dry. Wet hand, dry hand. I didn't learn that for a very long time, and it makes a big mess if you don't stick to it. I'm kind of start it off by rolling them around. So get a nice pecan coating. These don't tend to spread too much, so you don't have to leave a lot of room. So now it's time for the signature thumbprint, which I actually don't usually use my thumb. I know that probably feels like sacrilege. Maybe if my thumbs were as dainty as Betty Crocker's. And I just find that using this little rounded 1/4 teaspoon makes just the right size and shape impression. So these bake at 325 for, again, about 10 minutes, but you really want to watch them. Don't let them over bake. Okay, so here's some of our thumbprints, fully baked and cooled. For these, I'm just going to stick with red currant jelly, and that is kind of a traditional filling for this, and I just think it's beautiful. It's also really delicious. It has a nice tart flavor that has tannins in it, like grape or something. It's just really, really nice. I love how it just looks like a gem in there. Crunchy on the outside, soft in the middle. They have a really nice sandy texture, buttery and warm, and then that pecan is just incredible. It's just so flavorful and rich and really to me it reminds me of maple. Perfect contrast with the bright currant jelly. It's great, and a great texture contrast too. You've got that kind of dry sandy and then the jam. It's really great. I hope you will try these and let me know what holiday cookies you're going to be baking this year. Please be sure to subscribe. We have more cookie recipes coming. See you next time.
Ba-da-ba-da.